Hello and welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. Today again we'll be talking about the newspaper and we'll be dealing with various current affairs which we could pick from the newspaper. So starting with the PAR ID. This is an PAR ID. Let's see what is this. Just let me change the pen color. Alright, so the Indian government, One Nation, One Student ID initiative, that is PAR, under the new National Education Policy of 2020, has introduced the automated permanent academic account registry. So these, let's say, full forms are of use. So it's automated, it is permanent, it is academic, it is account registry, all right, or academic account registry. So PAR is a unique ID system for all students in India designed to track academic progress from pre-primary to higher education, simplifying educational journeys. Alright, so it's basically a connection, a network between various different institutions a student goes through in his life. Let's say he's in this school till first class, he wants to go to another school in the 5th class, 2nd class. Alright, so he has to transfer all the documents with TC, everything. Alright, all the certificates. So now they are having to have an PAR ID. So it will be a seamless transition from school to school, eventually school to colleges, and colleges to any further educational institutes. And this ID will also serve as a, let's say, proof of academic record, all right, for various different government exams, etc. So this is the use of this ID. Let's move forward. So the initiative aims to reduce the need for physical documents by creating a digital gateway to store and access academic achievements, making it easier for students to pursue higher education or job opportunities. There can also be a possible ranking system in future based upon this ID and their academic achievements. Alright, PAR also contributes to reducing fraud and duplicate educational certificates by establishing a trusted reference for institutions. So this is the future of education system. Each student's unique PAR ID is linked to the Academic Bank Credit ABC, a digital storehouse containing information about credit earned through their learning. It allows students to store all certificates and credits, including those from informal learning, which are digitally certified and securely stored by authorized institutions. Data transfer between schools become seamless with PAR. So this is the primary goal of this ID, as well as the future things. When students change schools, whether within the state or to another state, their information in the ABC system is transferred to their new school simply by sharing their PAR ID. No physical documents or transfer certificates are required. So this is a major hurdle to students whenever they want to change schools, etc. So this will not be in the future. Alright, to create an PAR ID, students provide basic information which is verified using their Aadhaar number. Importantly, the Aadhaar number is solely used for verification, ensuring privacy during registration. It's also voluntary, not mandatory at this point. Alright, so take care of that. Okay, let's move to the next news, which deals with why are China-Bhutan boundary talks significant. So first of all, let's deal with a map. So this is India, the bigger one. Bangladesh looks a lot like India, but this is not India, of course. This is Bangladesh. So what we're seeing is this part. Alright, the Bangladesh borders with Meghalaya here, Tripura and Mizoram there. Alright, they are not a part of the border. This is Assam here, and on the boundary to the Sikkim, Assam is the Bhutan. Alright, it's also bordered by Arunachal Pradesh. So at three sides it's bordered by India. This side, let's say West Bengal, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and the fourth side, in the northern side, it is bordered by China. So whenever you are reading any news from the newspaper, what you're supposed to do is to make a map. Always take care of the map. Alright, the map are not given in the editorials or the news sections of the newspaper, but you're always supposed to remember the mapping. So which states Bhutan shares a boundary with? They are West Bengal, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Alright. And in the north it's with the China. So let's see what are the issues between China and Bhutan and why is India keeping a sight on this, especially because of here. So a brief overview of the boundary dispute between China and Bhutan. So Bhutan and China have no formal diplomatic relations, but they have 24 rounds of boundary talks between such and such year. Talks concentrated on the north and west Bhutan regions. So what we are talking about, the north, this region, and the west Bhutan regions. Alright, because majorly it's with China, Arunachal Pradesh here. So far say officials, Sakitang Sanctuary situated close to the border with Arunachal Pradesh here. In June 2020, China attempted to stop UNDP funding for Sakitang by claiming it was disputed but was overruled. Okay, so there are some boundary issues China is having with every other country in the world, even in the sea. So what we need to see is what is for India here. All right. So let's see the India thing. Just a second. Okay, so this is India. There's Sikkim here, and there are few disputed areas here. These are the cross sections, cross points. Okay, this is Tibet occupied by China. This is Assam and such boundaries. What we are seeing here, China-Bhutan border claimed by the China. This is the China-Bhutan border claimed by the China, and this is China-Bhutan border claimed by India and Bhutan. So this part is overlapping. All right, this part is overlapping. So undisputed borders between India, China, India, Bhutan. So these are the undisputed borders. So basically this portion, especially this Doklam pass is very controversial. So always take care of the mapping. I'll provide all these notes on the Telegram channel as usual. I hope you are reading them and adding them to your notes. If you are not still on our Telegram channel, then it is by the name of Sarat Chandra IAS Academy on Telegram. So this is where I share all these notes, and the same notes will also be shared further. All right. So the recent, just a second, the recent boundary talks, just a second, between the China and Bhutan mark a significant step in resolving their border disputes, which have been held over for 7 years. The talks have been a part of three-step roadmap initiated in 2021 for border resolution, following positive momentum since their last discussions in 2016. Bhutan shares a border with the Tibetan Autonomous Region of China, and these talks are vital for establishing a clear demarcation. Next thing is Bhutan and China have engaged in numerous talks since 1984, but progress has been, let's say, halted. And there is a Doklam standoff between India and China as well in 2017. And then on further, COVID came up and things could not go forward. So China is having boundary disputes with various countries. Not very important to us. What's important to us is the China disputes in the, let's say, China Sea, South China Sea especially, as well its border with, let's say, Bhutan. So this is what we are reading now. Here we can see various different reasons. So this is India, Sikkim. This is the Doklam standoff which took place, Doklam Plateau here. This is the Siliguri corridor, the chicken neck of India. These are the disputed region, Kolakangri, Bayul, especially in the north and the west. So this is what Bhutan claims as its own territory, and the China claims as its own territory, coming forward from the Tibet, which was never originally its own territory as well. Alright, so always just take care of the maps and the areas mentioned in the maps. So the visit of Bhutan's foreign minister to Beijing further indicates substantial progress in the negotiations, and three-step roadmap aims to clearly delineate the Bhutanese Chinese territories. So such and such, it's not important for us, just a part of the news to increase the notes. Alright, so for India, we must see what is the standpoint of India in these talks. So India is having to only deal with the Western dispute because of the Doklam. Okay, so these talks are of particular concern, especially in the wake of strained relations with China due to line of actual control standoff since 2020. It closely observes the demarcation discussions over the Doklam region, as China has proposed an agreement to swap areas under Bhutanese control in Doklam and with areas claimed by China in Zakarlang and Pasamlang. So what China is essentially trying to do is that it's asking Bhutan to give the areas which Bhutanese are claiming in the Doklam. Alright, and China will give it areas the Bhutan is claiming and which China also claims. So this is essentially taking by force of blackmail, you can say, and it will increase some problem for India, because right now at least the areas are controlled by Bhutan, which is an ally to India, and not by China, which is a threat to India at the least. Alright. So this is what our concern is. So please just focus here on mapping portions. Alright, how question can be asked that such and such areas, let's say Kolakangri, Bayul, and let's say Mechuma area, or whatever areas are named in it. Alright, Zamfari Ridge. So let's say with this are in relation to which of the countries, or these are disputed regions between which two countries. Option can come like, let's say, Nepal and China, Bhutan and China, Bhutan and India. Alright, so you are supposed to know which countries the question is talking about. Alright, let's move forward. So World Polio Day falls on October 24th, and awareness communication is still a major part of the disease which has not been eliminated in the world. So first of all, two statements we need to pick from here: that has polio completely eliminated from the world? And the answer is no. What causes polio? This is very important. So there is a polio virus that causes the polio. Okay, and what is the nature of this virus we need to see? So it's a single RNA virus. Okay, this is what we need to see. And the fact that we can remember is that the World Polio Day comes on the October 24th. All right, this is a capsid, viral capsid you can see here on the outer side. All right, just move forward. So World Polio Day every October 24 highlights global efforts to eliminate polio and the importance of vaccination in protecting children from the disease. It's also an opportunity to highlight the importance of all mothers, fathers, caregiving, health government worker role in getting polio vaccine to children in the community. So the oral polio vaccine OPV has been much used in India. In January 13 this year, India completes 12 polio-free years, which is considered as a remarkable achievement. The last polio case in India was in 2011. But since it has not been eliminated completely, it is still to be taken care of. All right. So let's see which countries are 90% new polio cases. So our neighbors, Pakistan and Afghanistan. So they have very limited healthcare. So because of this, and there are many countries in India, there are cluster formation here in Africa. All right, near this Congo region in the southern Africa. So healthier, you remember the theme for the World Polio Day 2023 is a healthier future for mothers and children. Poliovirus is very contagious and spreads through person-to-person contact. So this also you remember. All right, remember some things about these diseases. It lives in an infecting person's throat and intestines. It can contaminate food and water in unsanitary conditions. So these are not found much in our neighbors, Pakistan and Afghanistan here. So this and some clusters in Africa also showing these things. All right. Okay, moving ahead. Let's see about the polio vaccine. So OPV, that is oral polio vaccine. So OPV produces antibodies in the blood and provides shields against all three types of polio virus. In the event of infection, it protects the individual against polio paralysis by preventing the spread of poliovirus to the nervous system. So once the poliovirus goes to the nervous system, it affects the motor nervous system and the limbs start to dysfunction and degenerate eventually. All right, so you become a cripple. Inactivated polio vaccine, that is IPV. So it's an injectable vaccine and can be either administered along with other vaccines such as in diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, hepatitis B and Haemophilus influenza. Generally 3 spaced doses are given to generate adequate level of subconversion. Seroconversion. All right, sero means there's a blood part. Blood had 2 parts. One is serum and one are its components. Let's say RBC, WBC, platelet, etc. So in the serum there are antibodies. So we need antibodies to fight the bacteria and virus. Okay, a booster dose is added during the late childhood for polio prevention. What are the symptoms of polio? So most people affected by polio are asymptomatic. That means they do not show any symptoms. While 1 out of 4 people suffering from polio develop mild symptoms like sore throat, fever, tiredness, nausea, headache and stomach pain because it is affecting the gastrointestinal system eventually. All right. So we'll see some symptoms here and there. A few people with this virus can develop serious complications of brain and spinal cords because this eventually goes to the nervous system. Okay, so in science and tech diseases, you can put these notes. Furthermore, let's move to the green hydrogen. India's green hydrogen move may worsen pollution if steps are not in place, says study. So let's see why green hydrogen against the pollution thing. So India's plans to produce so-called green hydrogen. So the news itself mentions so-called. All right, so it's let's say sarcasm at the greenness of this hydrogen. So let us see why this tries to establish this as a sarcasm. More things we'll see as we come along news. So where the gas is produced without resulting in a fossil fuel emission might end up worsening pollution if proper checks and balances are not in place, according to a study by so and so. India's National Green Hydrogen Mission, piloted by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So this you must remember that who is piloting the Green Hydrogen Mission expects to manufacture 5 million tons by 2030. One more thing, always remember what does a million mean in Indian context. So 1 million is equal to 10 lakh. When you come across the units such as hectare, then you must know that what do these mean. This means like a 100 by 100 meter area. All right, and so on. What does a ton mean? What does a quintal mean? So you must take care of the units overall when answering your questions. What happens often during when we are writing GS3 answers? We remember the data. Let's say this ton 10 lakh. We don't know what is the unit of this 10 lakh. It is quintal, it's ton, it is metric ton. All right. Just a second. All right. So India's national, we have seen this already. This would require the installation of renewable energy capacity worth 125 gigawatts. So now you must know what is giga. Okay, what is the unit of giga, peta, tera, exa, hepto? All right. So gigawatt is 1000 megawatts, and the use of 250,000 gigawatts hour unit of power, equivalent to about 13% of India's present electricity generation. So if you cannot remember anything, just remember the percentage-wise data, that 13%. All right. As of August 2023, India's total renewable energy capacity, excluding hydropower dams bigger than 25 megawatt, stood at 131 gigawatts. The 2030 green hydrogen plan thus envisages adding an equivalent renewable energy capacity by 2030. This is over and above the 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity that India has committed to install by 2030 as part of its nationally determined contribution, that NDC, under the Paris Agreement. This Paris Agreement is a very important. Alright, what is this Paris Agreement about? The 2 degree Celsius rise in temperature to counter the global warming. So must make notes about the Paris Agreement and all amendments to it. Alright, to put that in perspective, India installed only 15 gigawatts of new solar and wind power energy in 2023 against the 45 gigawatt per year needed to reach the 2030 target. So we are approximately running at 33% pace. What is needed? Using coal-based power. So let's see this. What is the caveat here? So MNRE has defined green hydrogen as hydrogen produced in a way that emits no more than 2 kg of carbon dioxide per kg of hydrogen. Currently producing 1 kg of grey hydrogen, as it is known, ends up emitting 9 kg of carbon dioxide. So in one we are emitting 9 kg, in the other we are emitting 2 kg. But what is the question here? So while a detailed methodology awaited, the definition restraints leave a lot to interpretation. So that's not important. The main concern is that if electrolyzers. So what essentially is producing hydrogen? The dissipation of H2O into H2 and O2. And how is this happening? Because of some energy. This energy is coming from electricity. This electricity is coming from fossil fuel eventually. So this is the issue. So which split water for oxygen and hydrogen, they will be expected to operate even at night when there is no solar power is available. This would then mean tapping into conventional coal-fired electricity. Alright, so this can not be done completely with solar power. This must be done eventually by the fossil fuel. So another challenge is that India's standards allow the use of biomass, which also result in carbon emission when burnt for the production of green hydrogen. Alright, so this use of biomass is essential because it will provide CO2. Okay, so this is controversial. Moreover, diverting scarce renewable energy capacity toward the production of green hydrogen might mean inadequate clean energy electricity being made available for consumers. So solar power we are using for green hydrogen production. That means low solar power availability for the direct consumers. Okay, so this can also be an issue. Utilization of the biomass is also an issue, because it essentially produces CO2. So several large power utilities in India, Reliance Industries, Adani Group, etc., and the National Thermal Power Corporation have announced ambitious plans to scale up green hydrogen production. The Centre's Green Hydrogen Mission has committed nearly 20,000 crore to develop and expand the industry. Moving further on, what is green hydrogen? Let us just I have added this to the notes so that you don't have to additionally add this or search this. Just a second. Okay, so hydrogen is a key industrial fuel that is a variety of applications, including the production of ammonia. This is NH3, and ammonia is used in fertilizers, steel refineries, and electricity. However, all the hydrogen manufactured now is so-called black or brown. Hydrogen produced from coal. Grey hydrogen is produced from natural gas, while blue hydrogen is fossil fuel sources where the ensuing carbon emitted is captured by a carbon capture process. Please take care of all these things whenever I am mentioning these. Let's say, what is grey hydrogen or black hydrogen? How it differs from the green hydrogen? What is carbon capture? Alright, so these all must be taken care of, and you should know about all of them. Okay, so green hydrogen currently accounts for less than 1% of the global hydrogen production due to it being expensive to produce. A kilogram of black hydrogen cost 1.5 USD to produce, while grey hydrogen cost 1.7 to 2.3, and blue hydrogen can cost anywhere from 3.6 USD till. Okay, green hydrogen cost 5.5 USD per kg. There is a mission by Reliance to drop it down to $1 per USD. Okay, according to 2020 analysis by the S&S, so this does not matter. Basically, what we need to see is green hydrogen production is more expensive. Alright, that's all. What is the National Green Hydrogen Mission? So, intent of this mission is to incentivize the commercial production of green hydrogen and make India a net exporter of the fuel. Which fuel we are talking about? Green hydrogen, of course. Alright. The mission has laid out a target to develop green hydrogen production capacity at least 5 MMT. That is million metric ton per annum. This is alongside adding renewable energy capacity of around 125 gigawatt in the country. So please note down India's NDC. Alright, please note down India's goals toward the renewable energy. What are they? And specifically towards this green hydrogen. This will entail the decarbonization of the industrial mobility energy sectors, reducing dependence on imported fossil fuels and feedstock, developing indigenous manufacturing capabilities, creating employment opportunities, and developing new technologies such as efficient fuel cells. This is also a question of science and technology, that what are fuel cells and what is their use. So essentially, cells are used to provide electricity eventually, and those cells which run on some sort of fuel are fuel cells. So take care of this also. Okay, so what we need to see here is that our renewable energy capacity should be about 125 gigawatt addition. Alright, so this must be added. 500 be the total, and this is to be 5 million metric ton green hydrogen must also be added. So this you can add in the notes along with the NDC. That when is India supposed to reach net zero goals in 2070 or which year? Alright, and what are the updated goals. So this is about for today's lecture. I'll be seeing you in the next lecture very soon. Thank you very much. This is Yatharth here.